Bit of a bombshell. The Milwaukee Bucks fired Adrian Griffin, parting with the first-year coach just 43 games into the season. The team is second in the Eastern Conference. Now, right now, longtime NBA coach Doc Rivers, who we learned began serving as an informal consultant to Adrian Griffin last month. Doc is the serious leader, I guess, for the position. CNN Sports was reporting last night that Doc Rivers had the job, but I don't think it's official. But right now, Adrian Griffin is out, so Joe Prunty is going to serve as the interim head coach, because that's just what Joe does, baby. This will be his third time as an interim head coach. But let's talk about, obviously, the Bucks' decision here, 43 games into the season, to move away from Adrian Griffin and possibly go with Doc Rivers. We'll see. What do you think?
Listen, the Bucks are relentless. They're cutthroat. They want to win now. We've seen it with their last two coaching moves. It's been fairly recent. They want to move to winning now. And yeah, there's lots of coach little incidents, little stories. The Doc Rivers being a consultant, meeting with Adrian Griffin when they're in Las Vegas just to tell him what to do, essentially. And that was after an assistant coach, Terry Stotts, left in the preseason. The preseason assistant coach said, nah, I'm out of here. I think what it comes down to, though, is Giannis Antetokounmpo specifically not being all that happy with the defense, really. We saw it earlier in January when they lost to the Rockets. Giannis, after the game, was basically saying, what are we doing?
Was that
are we doing?
The 7-minute rant about the defense?
Yeah. They're trying to figure. He was trying to figure out, what's our defensive plan? We should be trying something else. This past weekend, he was drawing plays. He had the clipboard, and he was drawing plays. So I think what it comes down to is Giannis being upset with them losing. We saw them lose by 40 to the Cavs. Defensively, they've just been bad. Offensively, they've been good. So people wondering if Damian Lillard is upset about not shooting enough. They've been fantastic. But they're 21st in defense, and I think it all just boiled down to January, where they are 28th in defense.
Yeah.
It was horrendous, really. Maybe Adrian Griffin didn't want to sit Malik Beasley. Something just boiled over with Giannis Antetokounmpo, who got the man hired, but also probably got the man fired, in all honesty.
I'm sure he has final say when it comes to a matter like this, in Giannis. You would think, or has a hell of a say in the matter. Yeah, like you said, he probably got him hired in the first place, and now he's gone. What do you think about this?
I'm not surprised that it happened, right? Because the Bucks have been good, but not great, and it feels like they've kind of been winning because they've got Dame Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo. The talent is there that they're going to be able to beat some of these bad teams, but they've been squeaking by so many. The surprise, obviously, is that it happened so quickly, and that Doc Rivers has been going totally Littlefinger mode here. That's wild stuff. But yeah. The defense is the major concern here, dropping from a team that's been in the top 5 consistently in the Budenholzer era to now in the bottom 10 of the league and getting worse as the season goes on. The Giannis press conference where he's like, we need to take away something was really telling, right?
Yeah.
Because that was the thing with Budenholzer. It's like, you're not getting layups. You're not going to score at the rim because we got 2 7-footers waiting there for you. He says, we are taking away nothing. You can get straight line drives. You can get baskets at the rim. You can get threes. You can get basically everything. The Bucks just didn't have an identity. So they decided to pull the plug really, really quickly because time is of the essence, you know? Even though Giannis Antetokounmpo signed an extension, you still got to win to keep him around, and they're feeling the pressure, obviously.
Yeah, and he said that in the offseason. I need to win. I need to win now. I need to win now. And we were all speculating. Is he going to sign? He signs. But every single game, every single season, it matters a lot to Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that is clear.
Yeah, I get the whole thing about, I think Griffin came in, he's like, we're going to change the defense completely, even though it was obviously a top 5 defense under Budenholzer. Like, he tried to go like, hey, we're going with the old Raptor strategy. We're trapping everything. We got guys running around. They're like, hold on, we got Brook Lopez and Giannis. It was working sort of in that drop coverage. The difference, though, to come to the defense a little bit of Adrian Griffin, ironic, is that the guards there on this team are now Damian Lillard and Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of defensive force from those two guys. I mean, it's a lot different than when you remove Drew Holiday, who's maybe one of the best perimeter defenders. They could be better. They should be better, and that's why they got to this firing here. But, it is the personnel a little bit.
Yeah, but why do they keep starting Malik Beasley?
Yeah,
they don't need to. It's happened with his last 2 teams, with the Lakers and with Utah. Yanked right out of the starting lineup.
Right.
You got Jay Crowder there, at least to
He's
try
been hurt for a
something
long
different.
time, though.
He has been, yeah.
Connaughton has really fallen off.
Yep.
There's not a lot of great options right now for the Bucks, and there's not a lot of ways for them to improve. Beasley is shooting it well, and they're good on offense, so clearly Griffin was thinking we got to go all offense because they couldn't subbed out anybody defensively. They lost Grayson Allen, who's a better defender than Malik Beasley. Javon Carter hasn't really done much for the Bulls, but he's a better defender than Malik Beasley is as well. Connaughton would be, but he's had a really down season, so there wasn't a ton of options. And it didn't work. So I don't know. It's like the personnel isn't great, but the schemes weren't helping either.
No, and they were getting shredded in transition. They allowed the highest frequency of transition opportunities for any team in the league. A part of that is the game plan from the coach. That's Griffin regularly sending a guard, a wing, crash the boards. You don't get the rebound, you're at a disadvantage. You're in trouble because obviously they have the numbers, and that was a glaring issue. All of this stuff sort of seemed to pile up, right? You're saying, Tass, like Giannis getting frustrated. You had Bobby Portis early in the year, sort of calling out Griffin's sort of game plan as well. You had the Terry Stotts thing. That was very strange. That was a huge red flag at the time, right? Terry Stotts is there. Suddenly he's not because they had one like real argument and there was a butting of heads, and then he's like, okay, I guess I'm out of here. That's not a great start. But for this guy in his first 43 games as a head coach with a good record, a very good record in the Eastern Conference and in the NBA, after taking so long as an assistant, Adrian Griffin, to finally get that head coaching job, to be canned, man, that's rough. Like, you don't even know if this guy will ever get an NBA head coaching job again because he had 14 interviews and never got it. Giannis finally goes to bat for him. He didn't want Nurse. And now he's still out here halfway through the season, basically. That's rough. That's tough. I feel sort of bad for him, but maybe he's just not cut out to be a head coach, or maybe needed more reps on lower levels. I don't know.
There were incidents right from the get-go. We said the Terry Stotts thing when they were 5-4. There was even chatter about him leaving. There seems to be a divide in that. Well, let's just drop our guys and not have to scramble up top when Malik Beasley or Damian Lillard isn't guarding up top. Just redraw it. And that's what I think Giannis did with that clipboard. He was literally drawing up plays. It was probably offense, but really when it comes down to it, they're talking over the last few years. We were pretty good for most of those years. There were some years where they dropped out of the top 10 a little bit with Bood and Holzer, but last year they're damn good. And so I think Giannis is just saying, let's move back. And basically, everybody's saying, oh, this is like the David Blatt scenario with Cleveland. David Blatt had at least a year and a half. That was his second season.
True.
This is unprecedented, I would say. This guy was signed to a multiple-year deal.
Right.
And
they're going to be paying 3 coaches now, right? I know that's not a first, but Budenholzer I still believe is being paid by Milwaukee. Sure. Obviously Griffin now, and then whoever this third guy is, be it Doc Rivers or somebody else. But yeah, I guess the comparison is that the Cavs under Blatt had a good record. Yeah, 30-11 at his firing, and then it worked out for them. Ty Lue sort of in waiting, slots in there, sort of blossoms into one of the league's better coaches, and they obviously win the title. So that's what the Bucks are hoping for here. Now, is Doc Rivers to you the answer? I mean, he's got the championship from the Celtics days, but he's also like the king of going out in the second round.
Milwaukee legend, though.
He's from Marquette,
got that
Chicago
jersey retired by Marquette. Yeah. He's better than Adrian Griffin. And I think that the Bucks have improved their chances going from Griffin to Doc Rivers. Everybody knows about the multiple blown leads. You see the memes going around on Twitter last night. It's a gigantic list of times that Doc has blown leads from 2-0 to 2-1 to 3-2, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But he's a good coach, and he's always good in the regular season. He had a top 10 defense with the Sixers last year. They started James Harden and Tyrese Maxey, 2 guys who are not great defenders. So he's obviously able to build a defense. I think the biggest thing for whoever takes over is going to be getting Giannis to buy in to playing alongside Dame Lillard, because they're not making each other better. Everybody talks about, why don't we see more and more Lillard and Giannis pick and rolls? It's because Giannis doesn't want to set screens. He wants to handle the ball. He's been doing it for his entire career ever since Jason Kidd took over, basically. So that's going to be a tricky thing. Dame Lillard needs to be running the offense a bit more. It feels like when he's really getting hot, it's just takeover time. So they got to find a way to have those two working better, because even though the offense is top 2 in the league, they could still be better, I do believe.
That's true. They could be better. Sometimes they are awesome when Giannis has the ball going through his hands for half the game, and then it's Dame time half the game, and they kill teams. And so I think he just has to make them buy in defensively, too. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Just to get them going a little bit, because they are so good. They've won a championship a mere 2.5 years ago. I think that whoever that they get in there, whether it's Doc, who got his nickname when he put a Dr. J t-shirt on that we talked about yesterday. That's cool. That's cool. You put that shirt on. I think he could be the motivator type of guy and just let the team almost coach themselves, to a degree. He just has to be the guy in the offseason to be, get that motor going. Because Adrian... What's that?
Playoffs.
Playoffs, yeah, excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, not the offseason. That's the wrong... Yeah, when it comes to the playoffs, just get this team excited.
Everybody's going to be like going nuts because he was second in the East, the Bucks, and they fired him. But were they really the second best team? I think is what they're questioning, right? And they don't think they felt that way. Obviously the Celtics are there. The Sixers are the Sixers. And, even these other teams like the Cavs and the Knicks, and they couldn't beat the Pacers who had their number. So I'm wondering if they're looking at that going. And it's all about, you're right, it's like they realize, and I'll give them credit, they're like, we have Giannis. We got him to sign the extension. The window's now. The window is absolutely now. So we have to be aggressive in either trades or obviously firing and hirings. Like, you almost have to applaud that because so many organizations wouldn't. They would have waited this out. And you might even say he should have been given a chance, Adrian Griffin, to maybe lose in the playoffs in a first or second round or something like that. But they said, no, we're not doing that. We still have half a season left, and we need a better sort of at least organizer, hopefully on the defensive end, to help our chances go win a title. I'm just not sure Doc is the guy, but it's going to be the guy because who else is it? Like, it's like Kenny Atkinson, I guess, interviewed for the job. But he's with the Warriors, and then obviously Nick Nurse, but he's with Philly. And then you're like left going, they want someone accomplished, someone probably that has a championship pedigree, someone that's like been around for a while, has going to have the respect of the players. And there's like the list, it starts to dry up pretty quickly. So is Doc just going to come in here and scoop this?
Yeah.
This guy just continues to fall into gigs. It's incredible.
He's a great campaigner, man.
I know.
The guy can talk.
Yeah. Hence why he's on TV.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Yeah, who's going to take over the NBA Finals?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Guy's literally the lead announcer alongside Doris Burke. Maybe JJ gets the call up.
JJ gets the call up. What a controversy. This is very, very interesting. I wonder how many times he's met with Adrian Griffin, because apparently it was when he was a broadcaster doing the in-season tournament for ESPN. They basically called him over. Oh, you're in Vegas? Yeah. Come on over and consult. I wonder how much he's done to this point, or they've just strictly been thinking it for a couple months. But I also wonder if they just trade for another defensive type guard, because when they won the championship, it was Brook, Giannis, and Chris Middleton as your 5-4-3. Their guards have gotten a little bit worse because Holiday is out. But is Middleton that athletic as he was after undergoing another surgery? I think they desperately need somebody to take Malik Beasley's spot. Somebody.
What are they going to trade, though? I mean, they could trade some pick swaps. They could trade, I guess, one of their young guys in Beauchamp or Andre Jackson.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of moves left to make.
No,
which is why they're probably firing their coach. Like one of the plays they can do.
Yeah, I think they bring in Jay Crowder and to start. He has been injured a lot, but he is back, and so I think that will, that mouth, that force on the floor. He's a pretty forceful type of guy. He'll be out there, I think, right away.
One weird little wrinkle from all of this. Saw people tweeting at us about it. If Doc Rivers takes over and the Bucks manage to stay in second place in the Eastern Conference, Doc Rivers could be the coach of the All-Star game. And you're going to be like, what? Hold on, the Celtics are in first. Well, Joe Mazzulla was the coach of the All-Star game last year. You can't be the coach consecutive years. Weird rule the NBA has. You got to give those coaches some time off, those good coaches. So Doc could come in here, in theory, be coaching in Indianapolis for the East.
I don't think they would allow it.
You don't think they would allow it?
Nah.
So they would
That's
just
bad.
Maybe who are they going to give it to? They say Rick
Nurse?
Carlisle. Hey, you're
Nick
there.
Nurse?
Nick Nurse, third.
Yeah, third.
Go
Yeah.
down.
That would be my guess. That's weird.
That'd be very weird.
It'd be very weird. There's also a chance, like, depending on how the standings hold and the play-in tournament and stuff, that the Bucks could end up playing the Magic, Celtics, Sixers, and Clippers in the playoffs.
The Doc
Gauntlet.
Oh, wow.
That would be amazing, man. Oh, that would be amazing. And if the Bucks somehow meet the Sixers in the playoffs,
Yeah.
the ultimate hilarity.
I mean, the
ultimate,
script writers,
man.
are working overtime right now to make that happen. That's got to happen, especially when we do learn here, like, with more conviction that Giannis didn't want Nick Nurse, and like he was going to maybe be the coach, and he's like, not him. He's always got his guitar, never stops, fiddling away on that thing. Let's go with Griffin. Yeah, Hopefully we get Sixers Bucks for sure.
Yeah. I want to see Doc as the head coach at the All-Star game. I want to see Nurse and Nurse as his assistant. Just bring in Nurse. And I'm looking for another third hospital name as a coach, and I don't got one at this time.
All right.
Steve, the Clifford Doc. No, that's not a good one.
I see what you're
Clifford
doing.
Doc.
You're looking for a third
Yeah,
third
Doc,
hospital-themed
Nurse.
coach name, I
Yeah,
guess.
why not? Monty? Maybe a Monty could be some
Maybe
weird
the full
one.
Monty? Interesting. All right, any other thoughts on this?
Do you think this reflects poorly on Giannis?
Yeah, I think he botched it. I think
Which part? Getting Budenholzer fired or getting Adrian Griffin fired?
But both, hand in hand.
Oh.
Yeah. But
Budenholzer should have got fired.
But mainly,
In all honesty,
mainly
they
the
stopped.
Griffin, mainly the Griffin part. I mean, look, what happened here is all these like first-year coaches came in. Ty Lue, like we said, Steve Kerr way back in the day, Nick Nurse taking over for Casey, and they had success. They won championships right away, and everybody started to convince themselves, oh yeah, just new guy, fresh voice, bring him in. You can win a title if you have a good team. But it's probably the opposite. Like Griffin sort of was put in a very difficult position. Again, one he had been trying for a very long time and got an opportunity. But like, this is a team with Giannis and the way they're currently constructed, and then adding Damian Lillard, it's like, oh, you got to win a title right now. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of pressure. And for, again, like a first-time head coach, that's a lot. But yeah, I think Giannis, in sort of agreeing to move off of Griffin and go wherever they go, is admitting to, sorry, whoops, my bad.
Yep.
He wasn't the guy. Because, the confidence wasn't there. And as the season went on, it was getting worse.
It was getting
Not
worse.
better.
Exactly.
You gave it half a season and didn't see like any promise that it would get any better.
That part can definitely be ridiculed. Maybe he just didn't know all that well. But as far as Budenholzer goes, we're starting to see it. You win a championship, you get a couple of years after that. Frank Vogel, sort of same thing. Nick Nurse, sort of the same thing. And Budenholzer wasn't doing a good job in that 5-game series, round 1 against the Miami Heat. He wasn't giving the ball to the right guys. Middleton was solid and not touching the ball in that last game. Things were just falling apart. And so I can see why they got rid of Budenholzer, for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that plays into what's happening now. Like you mentioned, maybe it's the Dame Giannis pick and roll, because I am going back to Chris Middleton. The pick and roll, that's what it should have happened in Game 5 of that series when things were just falling apart. They didn't believe in their coach. And maybe Giannis is going back to that. We don't believe in our coach.
So
again.
bring Bud back.
Don't have to pay a third guy then.
That's right. We're already paying you.
Yeah.
You're back in, man.
Yeah.